Hey guys, Deb here with Art and Grace. It is our last day of Christmas in July. Cannot believe we're already at the end. Night one, we did hats. We painted on our trucker hats. Then day two was our felt ornaments. I showed you this one. It took a little longer, so I did this during the day. And then a little ornament. Now that's what I taught y'all how to do so you can do it on a bigger scale. We did a sea glass tree, ombre look with lights. Day four, we did this mixed media tree. All the days are running together. Oh, and y'all, it looks so pretty in the light. So we've had a lot of fun. Tonight we're kind of ending the week with, we can't have Christmas in July without Jesus. So he's the reason for the season. Even though it's July, he is the reason that we have Christmas. His name is in Christmas. So we're gonna do a unique twist on the nativity tonight. We'll use some hymnal pages. Let me grab my decoupage medium here. I'm going to kind of bring this to the edges. I don't really like the white space, so I'm going to kind of leave that off. Just kind of get this down quickly. And normally, if I'm working on my wood surface, I'll put a sealer down. But since we're doing this, we don't need the sealer. This is the sealer. So we can go right on top with our hem and our, I'm using that same Liquitex gel medium. You can use decoupage glue, whatever you choose to use. There's lots of brands and lots of places make it. I typically use either this or DecoArt decoupage medium. Try this and we'll go to the next step. I'm going to do the coarse one first. Okay, now I'm going to take the more gentle one and kind of really clean off a few edges here. All right, we've got a clean slate. Now we're going to add some paint. Let's grab a flat brush, getting my brush wet, tapping it on the side. So let's mix up a little dark blue. We're going to use a couple of different blues. This is just any blue you have, mix it with a little black to get a nice dark kind of midnight blue. I love Payne's Gray, but there's no need. You know, you can just use any blue you have and add some black to get the right color. And I'm going to probably, I think that'll be enough, but I might just move a little bit and do an even darker little bit for the edges. We're going to do the outer perimeter, the darkest, and get lighter toward the light. You get the analogy here? So this darkest blue out here on the corners in a curved way. I will go back and paint the edges after the live, probably tomorrow after this cures, because I'm going to do resin for those that want to stay the whole time and watch the resin. So I'm just going in a circular fashion with this darkest color. I actually really like this color. I might mix a little more. It's not as dark as I thought. I do really like painting on the paper. It gives you a little extra texture, and I like that. Okay, I don't want to see any white. I just want to kind of be sure my brush gets in there and gets some blue. Oh, I've got some blue. Let's just mix up a little bit more of that dark color. Add a little bit of black to begin with and then add more, because if you add too much at the beginning, then you have to go back and add a whole bunch of blue. So it's better to go slow and easy at first. You can always add more. I love that you kind of have to look to see it, but then you can see the hem under there. So that, I'm glad we used it, but it's optional. You can just paint right onto your wood. Just put a sealer down. Okay, let's see. And I am bringing some of this lighter blue kind of on around just a little bit, just to kind of help it. So see, that's your background. Okay, we're gonna dry this. Okay, so I'm gonna split this down the middle. I'm not going to measure because we ain't got time for that. We're just kind of, this is just a chalk pencil. I'm just splitting it down the middle to kind of get my bearings on about midway. So basically that's our center point. So I want to leave room for a star, you know, up here. I'm going to do a tree because if you've noticed all week, we've had a tree. We had a tree with mixed media, a tree with our felt ornament, a tree painted on our trucker hat, and then of course our sea glass tree. So here's what we're doing. We're basically taking the tree shape that we used on our mixed media piece. And now here's where the fun comes in. Let's draw the manger. And then we're using our tree as part of the design, you know? So the base of the tree is just gonna be like, almost like another leg. And then baby Jesus. I already cut out my glass, so I'll be sure that I get him about the right size. But just a half of a circle, and then just, you know, he's gonna be in a blanket, so, you know, something like that. And then of course we'll have some hay and all of that coming down. Look, can y'all see? That's kind of what we're gonna go for. Just start with our manger. I'm gonna put out some brown. I will put out some gold and black. Get your brush wet. I'll do the ground first since in this case it is farthest away from me. I forget that I'm upside down today. I'm gonna get a really dark brown just by my chocolate brown with a little black. I'm using burnt umber, and just kind of side to side get on some dirt in this manger. Now I'm gonna tap right into my lighter brown. Tap that into there. So just kind of a combo of those two. And then we're gonna pick up some of our gold. Because we've got a layer of hay in here. However high you want to bring in, I'm bringing it a little high. More for interest than any other reason. Okay, let me show you up close what we have so far. I always squeeze out my brush into a paper towel before I put it in my water because I don't want the water super murky. I'm gonna grab my number 2 round brush. This is one of my favorite sets. You saw me just use the large one, and now I'm using the number 2 round. And I always say you can find just about everything I use on my Amazon website or Amazon storefront, I think it's called. If you go to my website and click on my favorite supplies, one of the little buttons will take you to my Amazon lists. They have been fantastic. I love these. I can happily recommend them. And then let's make a little, well, I really only need this bottom part for the tree there. But now we're doing our manger, so let's just use this chocolate brown first. We are going to outline our cross, so let's use black for our outline. And I'll use the same number 2 brush. I may have to turn it sideways. It will help me to be more accurate. Move your canvas however works best for you. It feels so like I'm gonna miss doing the Christmas things, but we've got to do fall. We can't skip fall. But I've had such a fun week doing all of these, and it's definitely helping me be in that mindset of don't wait till the last minute. I'm gonna dry this so we can do our next layer. Okay, let's finish our manger. And while I'm at it, I am gonna add a little more of our gold to the ground. If you feel like it's a little too much, you can just add a little brown. Very little, but it'll mute it a little bit. And then I'm kind of coming back and adding some, you know, little pieces that kind of stick up and out. And for this part, I'm using it just regular old gold. Okay, let's do our manger. So I'm going to take some more brown, add a little bit of warm beige too. Just add a few swipes in here, going horizontal. And now I'm going to take this would be good, or this is what I was looking for, a liner brush, and add some black, a little of that brown. So burnt umber and black. And we are gonna add a few of these in here. And never worry, if you don't like it, you can cover it back up. There's really no harm in any of it. And then just a little regular brown to kind of calm everything down a little bit. And then you have a little bit more of a wood look than just one solid shade of brown. Can y'all tell? Baby Jesus, we are going to use that warm beige, oh I've got it, and a little bit of sable brown. This is my kind of go-to for a face. And then for the blanket, I say let's do a little bit of we're going to do white, but a little bit, just a touch of blue in it. Same number 2. So I love this brush. I use it so much. So just a touch. Let me just show y'all my brush to start with. Can y'all see that? There is not, I don't think you can even really see, but there is not much blue on it. I'm going to use a little more than that, but just want a hint of blue. I'm adding more white because I don't even want it baby blue. I just want a little hint. And then I bring the blanket up kind of around a lot of times. Kind of like he's just all wrapped up in it. Kind of like that. Now, like I say, if I can do this upside down, you guys can do it right side up. This is a super easy painting. Very easy. And then I'm touching it into the blue, and we're going to just give him a couple of wrinkles. Might even use a touch of black too, so it's more of a gray blue. I'm going to dry that so that I can go on without worrying about messing it up. We're going to do some hay, and I'll show you how I do hay. Guess which brush I'm using? Just guess. It's the number 2. And I'm going to start with brown and just do a few little flips. They really don't show a whole lot on the wood, but do them anyway. It's just part of it. A few kind of even coming up because it's hay, which would not be neat. And then we're going to go to our next color, which will be a little white with that. Make a tan. Or you can use your little honey beige that we had out. Sable brown, sorry, sable brown. Now we're going to go into our gold. If I ever want to calm it down, I'll just add a touch of brown. I think I already told y'all that, but I'm good with this gold. And I'm just, hope y'all can see, I'm just flicking. So just kind of little flicks, and get your brush into a chisel formation. So take it and go back and forth. So up and down. You see what I'm doing? I'm flipping it, flip, and then flip. Flip, and then flip. Flip, flip. And now it's nice and crisp on that end, and you can make these little tiny flicks with it. And then when it stops doing it, you can get it a little wet, tap it off, and do it again, and then you're back in business again. It's not a big deal, but I like to show y'all that sometimes. I also like them not to be perfect because, you know, hay goes all over the place. It's not perfect. And even though it's a cute little whimsical painting, it's not supposed to be fine art, we can still add little elements like that. Let me take a look and see if we need more. I do think I would like a little more. I'm going to take my gold, add some white to it, and this will be my last layer of a really light, light yellowy gold. And just put a little less of these. Now, I have done this painting on ornaments, obviously on wood, on canvas, on card, so mixed media or watercolor paper. What else, ladies? I'm trying to think where all I have painted this. But, you know, think outside the box. You can do coasters. You know, these are obviously not these are summer, but wood coasters you can pick up at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. So think outside the box. A bag, a tote bag would be really cool. You know, it doesn't have to be a big dramatic deal like on wood. You can paint it anywhere. An ornament, like a round ornament. I was thinking ceramics, but a round ornament anywhere would be such a great gift that people could use year after year. Okay, let's do our star and then we're ready for resin. Now, North Star, that star is like, look at that. Oh, and don't forget white pearl and gold. Okay, so let's do that too. I'm going to do that first. White pearl and our gold. Okay, a little bit of gold. You won't need a lot. And I'm going to try to somewhat dry brush it on. So I'm going to use one of my great squirrel hair brushes. I love these. And pick up some of my gold, but wipe most of it off because at first anyway, I don't want it to be overwhelming. We'll see. You know, this is kind of one of those that as we do it, we're going to decide how much we want. So I'm wiping off a lot and just going to kind of start. Oh, that's already pretty. Just the little hint of it is pretty. I'm going to show y'all this hint because some people will only want the hint. They won't want very much more. Now, that was hardly any paint on there, but I want you to specifically look right here. Can y'all see that? I don't know if you can even see it. You may not can. I can see the brush stroke and little bits of glitter, so I will do more, obviously. I may end up doing a whole lot. I don't know. I just have to do a little bit. I'm going to show you again by going over it a little more. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's for sure. A little bit more, tap it off. Oh, this is so pretty. I love the gold. Okay, let me show y'all this, because this is kind of a step-by-step. You can stop when you like it. So once you have the amount of gold that you want, now can y'all see? I'm going to come in a little bit closer, keeping in the circular shape. Honestly, I keep, like, I'll have a little bit where there's a lot and I love it. So I'm probably going to add a little more gold, but you know, obviously when you're ready, you just stop at what you like. Let's take a look and see. I really like it. I think I might go a little higher. Let me go one more round up, a little higher with it. There we go. Okay, I think that's going to be good. See that? Oh, I love it. Now I'm kind of losing my tree back there. I might go over that with something. I am going to use a little white pearl also. I will use my liner brush so that it's not very heavy, but it will give it a little sparkle. And I may need to add a little more gold on top when I'm done with this. Maybe not though. Not adding a whole lot, just enough that we keep that tree back there. That was a lot. kind of making it sketchy instead of trying to do one full line, just kind of sketchy so that I can leave some of that gold to the front. Oh, that's a lot again. Okay. Now, can you see that line? It's just a little soft line that kind of brings that tree back. You don't want the tree to be the focal point, but I didn't want to lose it completely. Now, you can stop right here and you're done. Just sign it and be done. Or you can keep going like I'm going to and add glass and resin. So there it is with the star, and that's really all it needs. I think it speaks for itself, and the gold, I think I am gonna try a little white pearl. I tell you what, I think I'm gonna add the oyster pearl. Oyster pearl has a little bit more beige in it, so let me show you the difference. White pearl's on top, and I think that oyster pearl will actually be better for this one since we have so much gold. I'm gonna put a little of that. Again, with a squirrel hairbrush. Doesn't have to be, but you can use a mop brush or what else? You know, if you have like an old makeup brush that you've cleaned, just something real soft is kind of how I get just a little bit, you know, and not too much. I'm going to put the majority by the baby Jesus here. Oh, okay, this was good. I like that. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I can't wait to show you all up close. I'm just really using this right by him, and that just kind of emphasizes him and puts all the attention on him where it should be, right? So let's move that plate. Okay, look at that. Look at that. That's perfect in my opinion, because you've got the gold all over and you have a little bit coming up, but it's mostly at the bottom. So that turned out good. Okay, let's do some resin. I have other glass embellishments around. I did cut this today. It's just little pieces of vase that I have cut into little shards to use for hay. And then I did cut some mosaic glass, just the sheets of mosaic glass down into some, so that we have a variety of colors. So we'll add that. So let's mix resin. I use art resin for my projects. It is made for artists and for art. So there's a lot of resins out there. A lot of different creators are using all different kinds of resins. I beg of you to do your research and know what you are using. This is, in my opinion, the safest you can buy. And it might be a little more expensive than others, but it is so worth it. You don't want to risk your health. So just do your research. That's all I ask. I don't even want you to take my word for it. I want you to do your research and know what you're using. If you find one that is absolutely safe, you've read the SDS sheet, and you know it's safe, that's one thing. But if you're just taking somebody's word for it, please don't. Because how do you know that they have really done the research? That's what I always wonder, is because I did do the research, and it is scary what can happen with just a little bit of toxins coming up in the air. And then I've done my hardener I mean, I did my resin. I'm going to do my hardener now. And so once I'm done with one, I just set the bottle away. And that way, if something happens and I get interrupted, then I know which one I've already poured. Because one time I wasn't sure and I was like, I think I just did the hardener. I'm going to go ahead and do the resin. And the next day it was a mush. It will never do a thing other than just ruin your project. So be sure you know which one you used. And if you just get in the habit of putting it far away, then you know that this is the one you need to do next. Okay, we're gonna stir for 3 minutes. So with this, you're gonna stir pretty slow. You're not trying to whip it with a whisk. You're just getting it mixed together. And just regular, slow, steady mixing will do it. And then every so often, I will scrape my cup, the bottom of the cup, get that off of the little stick, get it back down in there. From the time that I am done stirring this to the time I need to be done using it is about 45 minutes or so. And then it starts hardening. It starts getting hard. So it does take 24 hours for what we call a soft cure, and then 72 hours for it to be as hard as it's ever going to get. And after that 72 hours, that's when I will ship it to somebody. Okay, so I'll just set this aside while we decide what we're going to put on here. But I did pull this champagne crushed glass that I love using. So we could sprinkle some of this down here. And then I've got this that I cut out of a vase. It's just hobnail glass. And then this was also part of that same vase, just a little round piece that didn't have any. And I'll put those there. We know we're going to put this for the star, and then these. So I think I'm ready. I think it just adds a little something, so I think that's good too. Okay. All right, now that we know kind of what we're going to do, then I'm going to go ahead and pour some of my resin. I mixed up 4 ounces. You won't probably need that much, but I'm going to put a couple of ounces on here and let that kind of spread out. Art resin is self-leveling, so it will continue to, just if I just walked away, it's going to continue to start spreading out. But look what it does for the paint color. Can y'all see that? I don't know if it shows on camera, but maybe if I got it under the light. I'm afraid I'm going to pour it all over my desk, but it just makes the colors pop and come to life. So if you do nothing else, if you just poured resin on, it makes it extra pretty. I just want to get a good coat down as my base. If you are new to resin, let me back up and say you should definitely tape the back. So get you some of that blue painter's tape, and you would turn this wood substrate over and tape the back. But I've done this for so long that I don't do that. It's not going to go over the edge for me, but it takes a while. It takes a time of learning and figuring out how much and how far and all the things. You've got a nice base, so just a nice even coating of it. And I'm going to use the little mini butane torch. You can get these at Amazon or wherever, just like you would use for creme brulee. And I put mine on the medium setting, not too high, because you don't need a huge long flame. And then just turn it to the on position, and I hold it a few inches back and just swipe, keep it moving, but it's going to pop all our bubbles. Seemed like I had a lot of bubbles. And then I'll have a toothpick handy every time and just kind of, if I see anything, sometimes you'll see a little, like a little tiny fuzz. If I'm not careful, a hair, things can wind up in here. So you need to have a few tools handy to clean up like that. Always baby wipes. And let's put our little stones down. You can really just kind of drop them down and then use your toothpick to move them where you need them to be. I'm not a perfectionist, but when I do glass art, if I'm not careful. I don't want to be that way. I want to enjoy it and not stress, not be nitpicky, you know. But I do love doing this, and so I tend to get caught up in it. Okay, then you just lay down your pieces. Be sure they're clean. Sometimes I look and be sure I don't have a fingerprint on it. If I do, I will just take a little piece of a paper towel. Where's my alcohol? Always have alcohol handy, and I use the 90 something. I don't remember what the number is. Do y'all? Is it 99 or 91? Anyway, I will kind of alcohol clean if I have a fingerprint on something, and then I let that dry a second. But in the meantime, we can add back our little pieces of glass down here. Just kind of a little layer down there to add a little interest. I think we did good on that. Now, let's do some hay. So just take your little hay pieces, and I usually kind of, like if I put a yellow there, I'm going to put a yellow down there. And you always have tweezers handy as well to turn things over. Now, is anybody watching and thinking, I would love to try this? Let me know. I'm just curious. You know, you just paint it and that's good enough. But I was excited to do this because I do think it's easy. You know, all the crafts that we do for Christmas, there's so many and they're all so cute, and I do all of them. But I did think I was not going to end the week without doing something for Jesus, because that is the whole point of Christmas. Perfect. I don't love the yellow. I think I'm taking the yellow one. Let me show you. Let's pop bubbles again. Your bubbles will kind of rise back up, so you know you'll have to pop them 2 or 3 times, and then I will pour more resin on top. But can y'all see? But that is how it looks. I will put a little more resin on. But that's really it. And then here's the next step. So once you are happy with the amount of resin you've got, and you've done all the things and brought it to the edges and you're ready to cover it, I cover mine with like a plastic tub. Just like you would store things in a plastic tub, it's like one of those. And that way, when I turn it over on top of this, I can still see my project. That's been the best thing I've found to cover these. I will put this on it's got to be on a level surface. This came from the Dollar Tree, $1.25, and you want to make sure I have a table over here that's level, and leave it for 24 hours or so. I say or so because in the morning or something I'll probably go take a video. And so come back tomorrow to look for that video, because I want, or pictures, I want you to see it. And then I'll just put it back down and let it sit there. It doesn't have to be covered after that, but I'll just let it sit there another couple of days until it's 100% cured and finished. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. Thank you for being here for Christmas in July, but just ask me any questions if you have them and I will answer them. If you're interested in the group, I would love to have you. So if you're, thinking about that, do that. It's a great way to treat yourself to me time, and we all need it for mental health. So hope you guys have a great weekend. I will see you soon. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.